Welcome to Steve. Today I'm sitting down with Moonchild keyboardist Max Bryk to hear all about playing with Moonchild, how he got into keyboards, and see what the future holds for him. So let's go check it out. Let's go!
Hey,
Thanks for sitting down to talk.
absolutely.
How old were you when was piano your first instrument?
Started on clarinet,
Okay.
just in school band. My
Okay.
parents are not musicians or anything, so that was kind of my intro to it, was just everybody play a B flat or whatever.
Or elementary school?
Yeah, in elementary school. I think I was 10. But yeah, I just kind of was naturally, had some sort of natural talent, I guess. Better than the other kids in my small town.
And where was that? Where'd you grow up?
In Estacada, in
Okay.
Oregon. From there, clarinet, I graduated to playing saxophone more. Actually dropped out of high school because there wasn't much going on in my small town, and went to a community college for the last 2 years of high school instead. And then from there transferred to USC, where I studied 4 years, and then kind of took a hard left turn from playing jazz to doing more like R&B soul stuff.
So up until that point, you've been mostly focusing on jazz. You went to school for jazz, and then your mentality is, I'm going to be playing jazz saxophone or jazz in some capacity. And then how does it take a whole nother turn? Was there a moment that happened, or what was that transition?
Yeah, it just started to be, you just follow your interests, right? So when I was 18, my interest was, bebop and modal jazz. And then whatever happened at USC, where I started discovering all this new music from my classmates and stuff, the music I love kind of changed to more like D'Angelo and Stevie Wonder style music. Naturally, I wanted to try to make that instead. That's really, I think that was the change,
Because I know you play a lot of keys and synth bass, which we're going to get into with Moonchild and other projects that you do. Were you playing piano and keyboards growing up, and when you were studying saxophone at USC at this time?
Yeah, a little bit, just for fun. I'm mostly self-taught on keys, just kind of following my interests again. But I did, when I was at USC, spend a year studying with Russell Ferrante from the Yellow Jackets, so he showed me a lot. But other than that 1 year, it's mostly just learning, transcribing from recordings and figuring it out on my own.
And then when you switch over to outside the jazz, bebop, idiom, does keys and piano kind of take more of a front seat?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it's funny, I play 3 instruments or whatever, but for me at least, genre specific where I'm comfortable, R&B stuff, I just feel more comfortable on keys. That's my happy place. Or I do gospel gigs, that kind of stuff, piano. But I also play older swing stuff. I have a weekly doing that. Feel more comfortable on clarinet than sax or piano at that. And a little bit more modern modal jazz, I feel more comfortable on saxophone. So it's very genre'd out for me on which instrument.
Yeah. Have you tried to combine all of, the very early clarinet stuff with the modal jazz and then the R&B?
On some level, it's all meshing together, and
They all kind of converged into one.
sort of
in some way.
Yeah, it's
or
all
influential.
it's all different parts of my musical voice, but it's not that I can't, I love to try to play older style jazz piano. I'm just not a master at it or anywhere close to it. But it's great practice, and I love trying to play that music on piano,
Yeah. And around this time when you discover R&B, did you have groups under your own name, or were you part of any bands, or
Yeah, wow. My first R&B group was called Sakum Pow. And yeah, we just it was just a fun college band with my
you
friends.
played sax in that?
Yeah, played sax. I was in the horn section. But I also wrote some songs for it, with the lyrics and chords and stuff. Our lead singer in Moonchild, Amber, she had a band under her name before Moonchild, where I was also playing sax.
Okay. So how'd you meet her?
At school.
Oh, at USC, okay.
Yeah.
Was any of the other members at USC? You all went to USC? Okay, cool. So that's how you all met. Did you jam as that orientation, or was kind of you and Amber and you and different people in the band?
Yeah, I guess our first playing was in that band. And then the idea for Moonchild was kind of born out of the idea of instead of trying to do a live band studio session, which is you know, kind of stressful and cost prohibitive. If you just try to book at one day at a studio, professional studio, and try to record a bunch of songs, like that's hard. And the idea behind Moonchild was like, let's self-produce on our own, like in our rooms, and we won't have the like high quality studio, but we can spend as much time on it as we want. And so we spent like a whole year. We didn't know anything about engineering or producing, or I was still very new to playing keyboards, but we just figured it out, you know.
Was there a bass player at this point, or it was kind of always you're doing some sort of synth bass or creating the bass lines kind of from the get-go?
Okay. Yeah, and drums. We don't have a drummer on the records either. Okay. Yeah, well, on the new record we have a drummer on some tracks. But
I want to take a quick second to welcome you to the channel. My name's Steve. Welcome to Steve, and I'm excited you're on this journey together. If you want to see more, it's amazing if you hit subscribe, you know, become part of the journey, because I want to hear what you have to say, and we can go on this journey together from the ground up. So thanks for tuning in, and let's get back to it. Let's go.
Then when does it officially become Moonchild? Is there kind of a moment that you're like, okay, we're going to release this to the world as this new project?
Yeah, I think in 2011. I had just graduated. The other guys were still in school, but yeah, didn't think anything would really, you know, we put our all into it, and you know, we got lucky on some level, because it could have just been another fun college project that, you know, died out, but for whatever reason it got some traction and we kept it going.
Yeah, how did it get traction at first? Were you guys putting videos on YouTube or just MySpace, or sharing stuff online and playing local shows?
So a little after MySpace, I think it was like Facebook was the main thing. There was no Instagram yet. But yeah, we did some like play along videos on Facebook that got some traction. And yeah, just the internet, you know, is incredible if you're first starting out putting out music. So some like internet DJs found it, you know, on internet radio, and eventually some actual radio started to, you know, just indie stuff that was into progressive R&B. Yeah, people just started to hear it. I don't really know. Word of mouth on the internet, I guess.
If you build it, they will come.
That's right.
Yeah. So then what was that like? To, you know, you started to play smaller venues, and now you obviously play large venues. What was that transition like, going from, you know, each stage of the puzzle?
Yeah, it's been a slow build, you know, which I actually is nice. You know, you can appreciate each step of the journey, but it still feels like we're in part of the slow build, you know. So at first we were like, you know, booking all our own tours, driving around and literally stuffing ourselves into a Prius C, and opening for people is a great way to get started too. We had some good opening tours for like Jose James and the internet.
Has your setup kind of been the same for that project pretty much? So you play saxophone, keys, and synth bass?
Yep. And yeah, more in the last 5 years or so, I've really introduced the clarinet as part of the sound.
Oh, okay.
That's been really fun. It's been tricky to play live, but recently I got the Intramic, and which you use on saxophone. Yeah. But
it's a game changer.
That's a game changer, especially for clarinet. Playing it live, you can just all of a sudden you can hear it super loud and clearly.
Right. You don't have to worry about feedback
in the speakers, and not worry about feedback and stuff. So
let's get into synth bass. For me personally, I love playing synth bass. I can't play with any bass players. I have to like. If I'm playing guitar, I'm going to a bass amp with an octapedal. If I'm playing saxophone, I'm playing the bass lines on saxophone. Keyboards, gotta play the synth bass. But there's not a lot of people that do that kind of as their main thing. Mm-hmm. How did you discover that, and like, what do you like about having that control or creating those bass lines as a keyboard player?
It just came out of necessity. Like, you know, we were this trio that didn't have a drummer or a bass player, so we were figuring out drum programming and programming bass lines or playing them in.
Mm-hmm. Was there a talk that maybe we should find a bass player, or just kind of?
No, not really. We just wanted to do it. Yeah. But also, like, you know, an early inspiration is Stevie Wonder, who plays all the instruments, and obviously is the synth bass master. So I'm just always trying to be like him, you know. So yeah, that's sort of the genesis of it, I guess.
What other projects have you worked on outside of Moonchild?
Not too much. I guess I mentioned that I play in this like swing band every week here in LA. We've been doing that for over a decade. We just put out a vinyl earlier this year. That's called the Hi-Fi Honey Drops.
Cool.
It's a really fun band. I mostly play clarinet there. That's about it. I met you at the Perch.
Yeah.
It's one of my other regular gigs.
Yeah, that place is cool. You were playing keyboards there.
Playing keyboards, yeah. Kind of just.
And then we started talking, and you're like, oh yeah, I also play sax. I'm like, wait, but I also play keyboards.
Yeah. That was great.
Are we the same person?
I mean, your last name is Brickman, so
It's true. Yeah.
we kind of are the same person.
Yeah.
New Moonchild album coming out. Really stoked about it. We got like a bunch of collaborators and stuff, so that's been a long time coming.
Mm-hmm. What was the process like for that? Because I know when you're saying when you made the first album, you did it all yourselves, kind of, run and gun kind of style. With this new one, what was the process like?
It's honestly the same process. We just know what we're doing more and know how to engineer and record a little bit. The focus on this album was really collaborating and working with the guest artist. But honestly, everyone we worked with, we just wanted to get their sound. And we were lucky that it gelled so well with what we were doing. And almost across the board, all the fits felt really natural and organic. So,
have you heard other music on the radio or other bands, or like seen other keyboard players doing synth bass, and you're like, oh, I see where they got that from? Like, do you
from Stevie or
just from you?
Oh, from Moonchild?
Yeah.
Oh, I would
or
never.
From your playing, do people reach out to you, or do you feel like you can hear those influences of kind of what you all have created seeping into other bands?
I wouldn't presume to take that mantle, but it's possible, I suppose. I would be more likely to think, oh, they have the same influences that I have, which I think a lot of people probably that have similar taste in music would have the same influences as us, so it makes sense.
Someone who's pianist, keyboardist that wants to get into synth bass, what advice would you have for them, or what are some good kind of beginning steps?
Great question. Well, yeah, I guess there's two parts of it, right? There's the like playing the lines, what notes and feel you're going to play, and then there's the sound design part, I guess. So like we were talking about upstairs, the sound design, getting a synth that doesn't have presets is a great way to learn how to make synth bass patches. But yeah, in terms of what you're going to play and what pocket you're going to play, the same answer as any other instrument, really, like listening, transcribing. I've actually transcribed a bunch of bass lines. Shout out
so you kind of
to
need
my guy Stevie.
Stevie on the bass lines?
Yeah.
Greg filling you.
Trying to, yeah, Greg.
Do you feel like you have to kind of split your brain and approach it as if you are a bass player versus a keyboardist playing bass lines?
I try to. Yeah. Also, being here in LA, most of my gigs just around town, I have a bass player. So I feel like I learn so much from them, like just playing keys, but like listening intently to what they're doing. And I can't play electric bass, but I can come home and try to like emulate what they're doing on keys,
So in terms of the sound design, what have you found works for synth bass, or for you playing synth bass?
For me, I like low pass stuff. I usually do a quick release. Finding patches that have like a little bit of modulation can add like some more organic character to the sound.
So you had two oscillators, but one of them was slightly off, so you have a little bit of...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not just have it be super like digital straight sounding, but like have some waviness in there.
I'm gonna have to try that, because usually what I do is I'll just have one oscillator or them synced so they're like perfectly square wave or sawtooth. But I'm gonna now experiment with just make it a little off.
Yeah. Or even, if it's subtle enough, you can set the LFO to like the filter a little bit. So the filter opens up just without you touching it, just as you're playing. That can be a really cool effect too, to just give some more like natural feel to the sound.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time. Let me pick your brain and hear your story. Is awesome.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, man.
All right.
Man, this interview was super inspiring. Really cool to hear his story of how he got started with Moonchild and playing keyboards and kind of where life will take him next. I think he had some amazing things to say. It was super inspiring, and hopefully you got something from this and are inspired to go try something new yourself. So thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you real soon.